Hello there. Today we are discussing how to get your clients to get even higher performance. As human species, we have been working on years, actually decades, maybe even centuries on how to get more out of life. We are always seeking to find a better version of ourselves. Well, your clients will probably be hiring you to get more performance out of themselves. And that is why this video is going to show you exactly what questions you can ask that would move them to get even more performance out of themselves. Now, before we even get started, let me tell you one thing about high performance. You're always performing better when you're learning. And this YouTube channel is dedicated to your learning, which is why to get even more performance out of your coaching business, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so we can notify you every single week as we post a new video for you. Now, without further ado, let's get the party started. So firstly, let's understand what is high performance. For the sake of this video, we are going to define high performance as your ability to get more out of yourself. So if you performed better than yesterday, you are a higher performer than your own self yesterday. Simply put, high performance is a function of many variables, and in this video, I'm going to give you the variables and also the questions that will incite your clients to be able to perform better by changing what is happening for them across these domains. There are three areas. The first area is psychology. Psychology can be defined as the mental characteristics of a person. This is what defines a person's mindset, if I may. Now again, psychology itself is a broad study and it might take us hours to get through just this one segment, but there are three areas in the human psychology that impacts peak performance. The first area within the psychology domain is motivation. Motivation is your motive to take action. Will you get up today and do what needs to be done? Will you get up and do the hard things? Will you make sure that you're creating momentum and movement towards the direction that you want your life to go? That's motivation, your ability to do the things that need to be done. Motivation is a factor of play, social engagement, desires, curiosity, passion, and purpose. All of these things combined increase our motivation to be able to do something or want to do something. Any one of these could be enough for somebody to have enough momentum to want to be motivated to do the things that they need to do. But when combined together, they become an unstoppable force. While we can cover all 7 elements, the one factor that seems to move most of our clients fairly quickly is passion. And the reason for that is most of the passion also involves play. It also involves us engaging in social structures, which allows us to be able to align our energies and be motivated. So here's a question to ask your client. If you had none of the worldly worries like money and fame, what were the 5 things that you would like to do all day, every day without a challenge? Now, most of the time, when somebody asks this question, the first few answers are kind of just funny responses without deep introspection. Answers could be like, well, I'll sit and watch TV, or I'll just eat all day. While all those answers may seem like the right answers, very often they are rooted in what feels like going to be passionate and fun to do right now. If you get them to do that for 24 hours and they come back to you and go, you know what, I'm actually kind of done with that TV thing. I need to stop eating. Now you know that that's not truly the passion. Once you've got these answers out, you have to inquire further. Ask them, are these real answers? Are these 5 things really the 5 things? Or these are things that you just need in the moment because you need a break or you need a fix? Help them find those 5 real things that are meaningful, are impactful, and that they're really passionate about. Very often, they can find these passionate things because they can spend hours doing it and they forget the track of time. These most likely are their passions. Now, once you've identified these 5 things, I'm going to show you a trick that you can do for your clients to truly be able to find their passion. I learned this technique from The Art of Impossible by Steven Kotler. Steven Kotler suggests that the right way to find passion is to find an intersection of 2 or more passions that come together to create a unique career or a unique business. Say your passions were cooking, writing, and internet marketing. If those were your passions, you could choose an integration of all 3, which was to show people how to cook certain things, write a book about it, and use the power of the internet to really distribute that information. Now, this is a fairly simple example and not all passion would intersect so easily, but you want to find as many passions that can intersect because that will create a tremendous force for motivation to stick and stay for longer. So one of the ways to shift somebody's psychology is to shift their motivation. And one of the ways to shift somebody's motivation is to help them find their passion. The second way to move somebody's psychology is to help them rethink and redefine their goals. And you might go, Ajit, come on, I know everything about goals. I do goal setting with my clients. But I want to give you a little rephrase. Most of us, when we are defining goals, we set up goals that we feel are achievable. Most of the time, we set ourselves up to say, is that realistic? Is that a realistic goal? Is that a goal I can get to? And that's the fundamental problem with realistic goals. When your goals are too realistic, what it causes is boredom. Because you feel like you can get to something, it feels easy. And when it feels easy, it can bore you. Which is why when you're setting up a goal, you want to set up a goal that is slightly dangerous, slightly more exciting, slightly more challenging. Something that feels a little unreasonable but doesn't seem impossible. If it's too big a goal, you will lose your drive to do anything because it will feel too overwhelming. If it is too easy, you'll lose your drive because of boredom. But if it is just right, it pushes you a little bit and excites you a lot. If it scares you a little bit and excites you a lot, you will topple over and you'll be able to achieve your goal. And that brings me to the question you want to ask when you are doing goal setting with your clients to push them further from where they are already very comfortable in. You want to ask your clients, what is your goal here? Does it scare you a little and excite you a lot? And if not, how can we push our goal a little bit further so it scares you a little but excites you a lot? This question will help them rethink their goals and evaluate if their goal is big enough for them to feel excited about it. And when they're excited about their goal, it helps them push further and really be able to move towards a more exciting future for themselves, shifting their psychology towards a positive direction. Now let's go on to the third key element to move somebody's psychology. And this is an important one because all of us do it, very few of us realize it. And that is how we talk to ourselves. All of us talk to ourselves. Whenever there is a situation that has happened in your life, you may have realized that there are stories that you create, opinions that you create, beliefs that you create for the people around you. You start to believe certain things about yourself based on a situation or an action that you do. And all of this mind chatter may seem juvenile and unimportant, but when it compounds over time, it can create a story that may become one of the key reasons you can't get past yourself. You can't get past your own behaviors. You can't get past any of the challenges that you are facing in life because you're constantly telling yourself that story. This is the same with your clients. Your clients are telling themselves the story and they're repeatedly telling themselves that story to the extent that that becomes their identity. They become the person because of the story that they've been telling themselves. What you want to do is to shift their psychology, is to shift the talk that they do with themselves, is to shift their own storytelling to themselves to something that is more positive and more empowering. So next time when your client is saying something to you that feels like it's their own story that they're telling themselves, here are a few questions in the order that you can ask them that will help you shift their understanding of the situation and hopefully in time shift the story that they've been telling themselves. What am I really telling myself right now? Is that really true? Like a matter of fact true, or it's a story that I'm creating to create comfort in the moment. You see, all of us tell stories to ourselves so we can create some comfort in the moment for ourselves. It makes us feel safe. It makes us feel comfortable. It makes us go into an emotion that feels comfortable, even if it is anger or sadness. And because these things make us feel safe and comfortable, we tend to lean back into these emotions by creating that mental dialogue with ourselves. If you can help your clients change their mental stories, mental dialogues, you can change their life, which is why it's important for you to lean into these questions. Now, once you've identified that it's a story that you're telling yourself, of course, you want to shift their behavior to take a more empowering story, a story that may be more helpful than the story that they have been telling themselves. Once you're able to shift their story to something that's more empowering, something more positive, something that takes them to the direction that they really seek and the direction that they really want to move in, you'll find that their life will start to shift. And that is the whole psychology piece. Again, psychology is a really broad spectrum of things. We're focusing on 3 key elements today for the sake of this conversation. We talked about motivation, we talked about goals, and we talked about what we talk to ourselves, our self-chatter. Once you work on all these 3 elements, there's another way to move your client's performance by many-fold, and that is body. Once you have started to work on somebody's psychology and you're seeing some massive shifts in their performance, you want to see if you can shift their biology. If you can shift their biology because of their nervous system, their body, and their bodily and biological functions, their neurotransmitters shifting, you will find that their performance can dramatically improve. A lot of this work that I'm going to talk about on shifting your body was featured in the book called Emotional Grit. It is written by my wife, Dr. Neeta Bhushan, and she wrote something that I think is tremendously powerful for somebody to shift their body state. There are 3 key things that you can immediately do to move your biology. The first thing is movement. When you move your body, even if it is a simple motion as walking or standing up, it changes the biological structure of your body. And because it changes the biological structure of your body, movement creates a movement energy. And as it creates movement energy, it moves you from a lower performance state to a higher performance state. So you want to create movement in your life. Now, movement can be difficult sometimes because sometimes movement requires aggressive movements and your clients may not be willing to do so, especially if they're physically challenged by something. Which is why when you want to encourage movement, you want to encourage movement just by a tiny bit. You want to ask them to move just a little bit. If they like dancing, maybe do just a dance move. If they like standing, ask them if they would be willing to get a standing desk and work from there for a few hours a day. If they like walking, maybe it'll be a good idea for have them go for a walk. If they like running or jogging, maybe that is what they need to do on a daily basis for just 10 minutes. Movement creates a movement in energy, and because it creates a movement in energy, it changes the performance state of our body. Here's the question that you want to ask your clients that are seeking high performance. You want to ask them if they are willing to create a small movement every hour of the day so they can create some movement in their body. If they're willing to make the small movement, you will find that because of how their body changes as they are moving their body, they will have a tremendous impact in their performance. The second way to create high performance is through music. Music not for entertainment's sake only, but music to increase performance. You see, when we hear something through our senses, we are getting messages, right? So when you're listening to loud, angry music, that may be what is the state that you're generating within your body or releasing as an emotion. While that may seem good when you're really angry, while you're working, it may not be the right thing to do. So you want to find music or ask your clients to find music that puts them into a trance-like state, puts them into flow, gets them to focus. There are amazing focus creating tracks available on different platforms that you could be using to increase focus. And so could your clients. But music is a very personal choice. And so sometimes some music that I might think is giving me tremendous focus may annoy somebody else. Which is why you want to ask these questions to your clients so they can find the right music that puts them in the state of high performance. The first question is, what music elevates your mood? What is the mood that you would like to be in while working on a particular topic, a particular subject, a particular area of work? How could we have a focused attention towards the music that supports the mood that gets the highest performance from yourself? Once you've identified this music, this mood of the music, you'll find that your clients can get into the state of high performance a lot more easily by using music as a channel. The third way to move your body is by meditation. I know. Sometimes meditations does sound stressful. It feels like everybody talks about it, but very few of us are really able to do it. So I want to simplify meditation for you a little bit. Instead of thinking about you have to do some complex breathing exercise or something that's really complicated, let's start meditation with something that is easy and comforting and does solve a purpose. Right now, the purpose that we are trying to solve is to lower our stress levels, increase our energy levels to create high performance in our lives. And for that, a great way to meditate is something that is an affirmative meditation. An affirmative meditation is simply a repetition of your goals, a repetition of your gratitudes as you are meditating. You're just taking a calm moment to remind yourself of your goals and how you're creating great things in your life and what you're grateful for. What I'm doing as I'm suggesting you to have these affirmations is that you end up flooding your system with positive emotions. And because of that, the state that you go in or the state that you experience as you're going through this exercise is positive and uplifting. And as you're more positively uplifted, you are way more capable of creating higher performance in the day. So ask your clients, can you take out just 10 minutes to do an affirmative meditation, an affirmative mindfulness exercise, if I may, that will allow you to focus on the present and say how great things are, how beautiful things have been, how you are creating progress in your life. Even if it is hard, try do it, because you'll find things to be grateful for. And as you find things that you're grateful for, your state changes, your body state changes, and hence it allows you to be in a more peak performance state. And that brings me to the third element of creating high performance in somebody's life, and that is emotions. Emotional management or emotional state management is one of the paramount reasons for somebody to be able to perform at a peak level or not perform at a peak level. If you really observe your behavior in a different emotional state that happens and frequently fluctuates through the course of the day, you'll find that when you are anxious, concerned, fearful, or any of the states that take away power from you, you cannot really perform. Or you can perform a little bit with it, but you drain out really, really quickly. Versus if you are in a state of creativity, of joy, of abundance, of growth, you are able to perform for a longer period of time. If you want to create peak performance in your life, you want to learn how to manage your emotional states. This is something that you want to teach your clients too, on how can they manage their emotional states to be able to regulate their emotions better and get greater outcomes in their lives. There are three key questions and three key areas that I want to focus on today that will help your clients navigate their emotional states. The first question is, what am I feeling really? You see, most of us identify emotional states and we use very few words to truly know what the emotion that we're experiencing. I'm angry, I'm sad, I feel amazing. Those are some of the key emotions that we always keep saying, but if you really dig deeper, there is an emotion that is beyond anger. This is the real emotion that you're feeling, and anger seems to be the easiest vocabulary that you can get to it. If you're frustrated with something or you're disappointed in something, find yourself saying, I am disappointed. I'm experiencing disappointment as an emotion instead of anger. The reason to identify the real emotion that is behind it is once we identify the real emotion, it's much easier to go back to the story of where it comes from and how to regulate it. So the first question, the most important question, is to identify the right emotion. What am I feeling really? What is the emotion that I'm really going through? The second question that is vitally important for you to start regulating your emotions more easily is to try and understand what are the events or circumstances that trigger a particular emotion. So ask yourself and ask your clients this question. What is the event or circumstance that led you to feel this way? If you're feeling disappointed, let's say that's the label we gave to the emotion. What led you to feel disappointed? And what are those events and circumstances? And once we understand those events and circumstances, can we avoid them? Can we avoid the circumstances and events in our life that lead to emotions that are not empowering for us, that are not helpful for us? The third question you want to ask them, is there a possibility that you can choose a different emotion? Is there a possibility that you can choose learning instead of disappointment, that you can choose something positive out of that circumstance instead of choosing something negative out of that circumstance? One of the ways to help your clients choose a different emotion today is to help them see that that event itself, that circumstance itself is meaningless. That circumstance and that event itself doesn't really create the emotion in their body. It's the story that they tell themselves as a consequence of that event and the circumstance that creates that emotion. And once they see that, once they're able to go, oh my God, it is really what I'm telling myself. When somebody does something, I tell myself this other thing, which leads me to believe that I am disappointed or I'm not good enough or whatever that feeling is. So we can change our feelings around an event if we can change the story. So let's invite our clients to change the feelings, change the emotions by changing the story. With these three questions, you should be able to identify and regulate your client's emotions, and you should be able to show them how they can label, understand, and then regulate their own emotions. Now, we covered a lot today. We talked about psychology, we talked about biology, we talked about emotional management, and that's a lot of stuff to take in. But there were a lot of also really good questions that you can use to be able to shift either of these for your client's life. If you can move all of them, even better. But here is something that I want to invite you to. To be an exponential coach, you need to learn from somebody who is an exponential coach. And that is my friend, Rich Litvin. Rich Litvin has been coaching high performers for years at this point. For that matter, he's been doing this over a decade and successfully. He has coached athletes, Olympians, he has coached scientists, he has coached celebrities, he has coached businessmen, he has coached billionaires. He's coached high performers through and through for years at this point. And I really do believe that he can show you something that can truly transform your coaching career and help you be able to get more out of your clients. We call his way of coaching individuals the exponential way of coaching business. So I want to invite you to being an exponential coach. There is a free masterclass that's playing right now that you can watch where he walks you through the 8 principles of exponential coaching that can create an impact on somebody's life every single day. Below this video, you'll find a link for being an exponential coach masterclass. So go ahead, click on that link below, go join the class. While I have you here, go ahead, click on that like button if you love this video. Leave me a comment on what stood out for you. What is it that you thought was kind of interesting, something that you learned out of this video? I love to hear your thoughts. I love getting your comments. Share this video with someone you think can use this information to the benefit of themselves or their clients. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ajit Navalkar. You're watching You Have a Coach, and I'll see you next week.